Good morning. This is View from the Pew. It's Monday, August 17th, 2020, and we're looking at the commands of Christ. We find ourselves in Matthew chapter 16, and Jesus has just gotten into an argument with the Pharisees and the Sadducees about the sign that'll be given to them and the fact that they want a sign, and he says the only sign you're going to get is the sign of the prophet Jonah, which was the picture of the resurrection, that he'd be in the earth 3 days and would rise again. And then he withdraws himself, starting in verse 5, and he makes this command to his followers, and they struggle to understand it. So let me read to you from 5 through 12. Matthew 16, 5 through 12. And the title of this command is Beware of Phariseeism. Beware of Phariseeism. Now, when his disciples had come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Jesus said to them, "Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." And they reasoned among themselves, saying, "It's because we've taken no bread." But Jesus, being aware of it, said to them, "O you little faith, why do you reason among yourselves, because you brought no bread? Do you not understand or remember the 5 loaves and the 5,000 and how many baskets you took up? Nor the 7 loaves of the 4,000, how many large baskets you took up? How is it you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread, but to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees?" Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And if you were to sum up that doctrine, it would be this. They were too concerned with the externals and not concerned enough with matters of the heart. They were too concerned with ceremonies and the way things appeared and not concerned with the fact that they looked like hypocrites. That is the leaven of the Pharisees. And I think it's called leaven by Jesus because leaven has a tendency that anything it gets into, it permeates, penetrates, and affects. It just takes a little bit of yeast to leaven a whole lump of bread. It just takes a little bit of a wrong focus on the externals, the ceremonial, to create a hypocrisy within the Christian life. How people dress at church, how they look. I've heard the term used recently, the optics of a situation. And let's be honest, we look on the optics a lot more than God does, how things appear. If we were to look at Jesus back then, we wouldn't have thought him to be very attractive or handsome or not the pick of the litter, but I'm here to tell you he was King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And see, God looks on the heart. God looks on the heart. God looks on where our heart is. And we don't do that as much as we should. We tend to look on the externals. We tend to look on the optics. We tend to focus on ceremony. And the end result of that is a permeation of our whole lives, because once you let that thing in the door, it's going to grow. Other things, we start to measure spirituality by outward things and not by inward things. So I would say to you and to me, the thing we need to see is we need to agree with Jesus and beware of that leaven, beware of that permeating, influencing effect that hits Christianity that says, it's important how I look. It's important how you look beyond the condition of your heart. Because when you let that creep in, that's when hypocrisy creeps in. So let us please take Jesus' words seriously in regard to this. Just thinking, it makes me wonder that many people have shunned Christianity because of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees that's come into church life, and therefore the hypocrisy, if that's the right way to say it, the hypocrisy or the hypocrites that are formed through that emphasis on the external. So God help us to focus on the heart and not try to just look good, but to be obedient to him and to love him from a pure heart. Pray God blesses your Monday, and let's go out and serve him, more concerned with our heart than anything else. God bless.